r/us credit. What does the smartest person you know do for a living? I used to know an astrophysicist. This guy was insanely smart, knew multiple languages, published hundreds of papers with science terms I can't even pronounce, and was also a professor. He had a gift for explaining things without making you feel stupid or inferior and genuinely enjoyed teaching. That's the gift. People that explain wisdom without placing the listener in a position of inferiority. It's when people are so passionate about their work they are determined to share with others. Years ago I had a religious education teacher. Well, I challenged everything, of course, with me not being at all religious. I wasn't the best student, lol. But he listened to me, and eventually I really enjoyed that class. Introduced me to theology and it absolutely fascinates me. He was incredibly smart because he didn't have any answers. That sounds a bit like David J. Milan, who teaches CS50. I don't know him personally, but he seems to have that gift of teaching by being enthusiastic about it. Resident a doctor at a pretty famous hospital. We're all like barely 30. That dude got picked on hardcore in high school because he was a science nerd, but he straight up was like, I don't give a shit. I like science. What are you going to do about it? And now yeah. He's f***ing killing it, haha. I'd love to climb through his window to chat while he types his nightly journal. Digi. It's hard to say. Smart has so many dimensions. People I went to college with became doctors and lawyers and college professors. One guy started his own software company and made millions. But the guy who had the highest SAT scores at my selective college got addicted to coke, blew up his marriage and career as a consultant, and is running a snack stand at a golf course. And he's pretty happy about it. Street smart people tend to be book dumb. While even professors notoriously struggle with simple problems outside their specialty, smart is more contextually dependent than it seems. I genuinely don't mean this to be a dick, but I've always found the book smart/street smart distinction to be a fabrication, primarily peddled by people who claim to fall on the street smart side of things. There are people who are very singularly intelligent, but most of what goes into being smart are general capacities, and smart people tend to be smart in a fairly general sense. Everyone had shortcomings, but by and large it seems that smart people are generally more capable at most things. I think part of the issue is it's made out to be this either/or dichotomy. My father. He started as a janitor at a plant as a high school dropout, then got his JED, then worked on an industrial engineering degree, so he later got a job as one at the same plant. He later got a master's in accounting and passed the CPA test and worked his way up to CFO. Can you tell that man you're my new hero? Dude drives a damn Uber. Guy is a mechanical genius. He can build literally anything as far as I've been able to tell in 20 years of knowing him. Finally got his CNC and some other certifications a while back, so he could actually start making money doing what he's best at. Yet years later he's still driving a fucking Uber. Intelligent does not stable make. Just sounds like he never managed to turn his potential into success. Pretty much. Yeah. I worked with him for a few years some years ago when he'd been working retail for a while and had a hard time making ends meet. Dude excelled, but only because I was his boss and I'd already known him over a decade and understood his BS. Anywhere else he would have been canned after a month. And he just doesn't see it. It makes me sad. He's a great guy once you get past the weird emotional issues. That's a huge flaw right there. Can't keep himself employed for a month is really saying something. Oh, yeah. He's actually gotten better. When I first met him back around 2000 he'd get a job, work a while, a matter of weeks, and then he'd just stop going in. Now at least he tries and doesn't quit. But his attitude gets all up in his way and he can't manage professional relationships. It's really frustrating to watch when you care about the guy. She's got a master's degree in engineering and works in a deli. Why? I knew a dude who worked part-time as a meat cutter at Below while he tried to get a degree to do HVAC. He decided he loved cutting meat so much, and he's good at it, he dropped his college work. A cousin of mine got her bachelor's in molecular genetics. After graduation, she decided she didn't want to work in a lab, and instead got a job meat cutting at a local grocery store. She loves it. He's a big time hunter and has cut deer and hog meat for a long time anyway, so it's something he loves. My grandma was a psychologist for 30 to 40 years, not sure exactly. She began her schooling for that in her 30s-40s after my grandpa found out he was dying and decided to ditch her with 3 children. She got her degrees, worked her ass off, and retired in her late 60s/early 70s with 3 to 4 retirements. She also wrote books on the side, miserly guidebooks for hiking trails and stuff like that. Oh, and when she retired from her psychology job she became a professor for about 10 years or so. On top of that, she got into real estate. She's been buying and flipping houses since before I was born. Some she sells, some she rents. She just sold a vacation home she had for 20 years at over $200k. I have watched this woman write a check for $50k and not even blink. She travels the world all the time, and she's still pulling in serious bank. Pretty sure there's some serious royalties from her books. Long story short, I aspire to be my grandma. 80 years old and healthier than most 20 years old, and loaded to boot. So, she's single? No. She remarried and is still with him. Pretty sure it's a sugar mama situation. He breeds snakes because it's his passion. He's extremely knowledgeable about every aspect of it and doesn't half-ass anything or ever neglect the health and safety of his snakes. He genuinely cares about his work and the snakes in his care, and makes a point to educate his audience as much as possible and answer every question anyone may have to the fullest extent. Before you ask, he may be a breeder, but he's not a scumbag about it, and the money involved is the least of his concern. Ball pythons? And then some. He's literally the head of neurosurgery at a clinic in the States. Got the position at 35 and has been there a few years now. Stupid smart. Very happy for him. Insanely jealous of his salary. At 35, that sounds super young as a head of neurosurgery. Wow. Seriously. Like 10 plus years too young. Try 20. My sister. She's a med student. Has the best memory I have ever seen, and is also very humble. I wish I had her determination. It's truly a delight meeting people with mental gifts like incredible memory or awesome facial observation skills or spatial awareness, etc. It goes to show everyone deserves our attention, because the gifted are all around us. He works inspecting chickens for diseases at a poultry plant for the USDA. I worked for the plant after graduating high school and got put in the position to assist the USDA inspectors. Never met anyone even remotely similar to the guy in my whole life. He has an insane memory and spends all of his time he isn't at work reading non-fiction books. He speaks 5 languages and had a deep knowledge on almost any subject I could bring up. As somewhat of an introvert who has lived all over the world due to his parents being in the military and spending all of his free time intentionally educating himself, even after graduating from college. He's also a 43-year-old virgin who has never moved out of his parents' house, and aside from learning his only other love is Star Trek. Honestly not a bad life, man. While others hate their partners and stuck in unhappy marriages due to kids, this guy's doing what he likes and contributing to society in his own way. I knew a guy like that, living with his parents, devoted his life to fandom and board games. Well, my judgmental attitude got an adjustment when he passed away as 400 plus turned out to the service. Among the people writing a few words in his memory I recognized politicians, a professor, a journalist and an actor. Apparently you can touch many lives just doing what you love. Stay-at-home dad with a younger wife, who makes 6 figures. I don't know anybody smarter than dude who set himself up like that. It's me. Is your wife seeing anyone? Me. Damn it. Always late to the party. You seeing anyone? His wife. He is a Benedictine monk and teaches theology in a university. He is also a forester and has done a lot to save and protect a large swath of forest in Indiana from invasive species and idiots on quads. My grandmother was a stay-at-home mom. Her family didn't let her go to college. Upvoting your grandmother. I'm sorry she was denied that opportunity. I'm too. She could have done whatever she wanted. The 3 smartest people I know. 1 is a nursing supervisor at hospital. She started as CNA, then RN, then supervisor. 2 has a college degree, enlisted in military after 9/11, and became member of a special operations unit. And he was special ops, not a stolen valor braggart. He had more than enough evidence to back it up. 3 works a desk job in local government. Highly intelligent but does not want to deal with stress of a job that utilized his smarts. 4 works as a nurse as well. Smart enough to do more, but doesn't want to deal with the stress to work at high level while trying to raise her family. The 3 smartest people I know.
N.
Well, I guess we know somebody that isn't making anyone else's list on here. Neve said I was smart. He's an air traffic controller. Oh hell yeah. I have an ATC friend. She's brilliant. Musical composer. This dude's apartment is stacked floor to ceiling, wall to wall, with papers and notes and books of his past work. He has his own chalkboard. His workplace in his living room is a standing desk behemoth of 4 computers, with a massive Apple machine equipped with a dizzying collection of very specialized software for composing, distance collaboration, along with a huge numerically labeled collection of all his projects spread across 2 external drives. When you talk with him, and he asks a question, he often correctly guesses your answer before you can respond, and finishes your sentence better than you can. I'm decently smart, but this guy makes me feel fundamentally stupid. He runs a little construction company. He's 23. Met him at the university, where he dropped out because he couldn't manage to run his company and study. Archie Andrews. My husband. He's a programmer. He dropped out of high school, got his JED, and worked his way up from nothing, literally nothing, to software architect out here in the SF Bay Area. He stays updated on the latest tech and is always trying to improve. He is also the only person I know where I can give him unfiltered criticism and get a legit response of "oh cool, now I know where I can improve," which, to me, is the ultimate sign of intelligence. I now have a virtual crush on your husband. Would you happen to know if her husband is single, by chance? My son graduated high school at 16. Now graduating from college at 20 with a double major in computer and electrical engineering from the Honors College. Recruited and has a job lined up already. He didn't have to work hard until college. He just didn't need to, but when it came time, he stepped up. I'm so incredibly proud. That stepping up at college was hard for me. Shows a lot of ability to motor through. Impressive. Shows he had good parenting, if you ask me. You've reached the end. You're a star. Destroy the subscribe button for more like that.